Hello, flawed personality. That's a great handle.
You ready? Hi, Mom. You're good.
Hey guys, welcome. The volunteers and interns are just finishing up dinner, and while they are doing that, I am doing some prep work for our menu this evening. So tonight we're going to do a vegetable pot pie. We're going to do French bread pizzas with sausage and green bell peppers. And we are also going to do blueberry pancakes. So 3 meals in one, y'all. So everybody's still eating right now. Andy is behind the camera.
Hi, guys.
And Miss Carol is also joining us tonight. So we have a full house, I guess you could say. So I'm just working on the vegetables for the pot pie. Now you can do pot pie, obviously, with meat or whatever you want to put in there. It's really nice.
You get in there, help? You get in there, help?
They're not dirty, otherwise I would.
Yeah, we'll exempt Tanya. Tanya's here. We're going to exempt her. We got some new people that have not been part of the crew before. What are you looking for? Right here. You have to go. So you have to go this way. You come around behind me and say hi to everybody.
You can just go that way. You'll have to get in front of the camera for a brief moment.
Vito, Dylan. So we got a couple of our interns. So like I was saying, when you work on a pot pie, you can basically make it into whatever you want. You can put meat in there, you can put veggies only, you can make it vegan, you can make it vegetarian, you can do omnivore. It's basically whatever you want it to be. And that's the really nice thing about it, is that it can just kind of be what you want it to be and filled with whatever you want it to be filled with. So,
Just like your life.
just like your life, yes. It can be whatever you want it to be. All right, so I'm gonna experiment with this because I have never used it before. Ah, there we go. No. Temperature. Bear with me. How does this work? Someone help me. Andy, you're my tech man.
Alright, I'm stuck behind interns.
Someone who does tech.
Mark Lucy.
Nico, get a hammer.
No, Nico, don't touch this. You and technology are not friends. Nico's here. How do I use this thing?
Oh, did you read the directions?
No, I didn't have time to read the directions.
Read the directions.
Yes, but that's because you always break things.
It's from IKEA, you can do this.
It's not from IKEA, it's from Amazon.
Speaks for your store.
Any of those companies want to sponsor?
Is the trial lock on?
Maybe it's heating up? I don't know. Alright.
EO. Hey, behind you guys, there's a box. What's up? Are there directions in there?
This
No,
is, there are no directions.
I looked.
Oh.
Is anybody
This is
making
real
fun of
life,
us
wait,
yet?
Wait.
Oh, directions! This is real life. This is how it
There's
works.
apparently a child lock. There's a child lock.
Oh, there's a child lock? This is not what happens really when you cook. Ordinarily, I'd be doing it on the stove top, but then my back would be to everybody, and no, that's not fun for
I
anyone.
think I just turned the show back on.
Maybe it needs to warm up. How do you turn? Now it's
You hold
off.
this down long enough, you'll have the interns.
But that's, yeah, but we don't, I need the interns to be able to use this, because they need to learn how to cook. That's the whole purpose of the show. Well, don't put your finger on that then.
Child lock, leave it alone.
How old are you? Oh,
Oh.
no, it just turned off again now. All right, well,
This is the worst. Was this
Does
like
this
Amazon
function?
Basics?
I don't know. Oh, you got it to, I don't know. All right, you know what? I may have to turn my back to these lovely people. So, I'll just do it from the side. Ah! So this is the front. Great. All right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just preparing half a stick of butter. So a quarter cup of either butter or oil. If you want it to be vegan, you can use oil. I would recommend olive oil. But if you want it to be omnivore or vegetarian, you can use butter. I'm using butter right now. So I'm just waiting for my butter to melt, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook some of my vegetables. So I'm doing a medley of vegetables because I'm going to do a vegetarian pot pie tonight. So I have in this bowl, I have onions, celery, and carrots, and then I am adding potato to my pot pie. So I'm going to cook my potatoes starting at the very beginning, so that way it actually cooks down and it gets soft, so that way you guys aren't eating raw potato. Because, I mean, I love potato, but not raw.
Alright, so apparently it's an error code.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So
but,
it's broken.
no, it says, if the cookware is removed from the countertop during any time during the cooking cycle, the unit will be continuously for 30 seconds. And then you get an error code, and then it says repeat steps 1 through 5. Which are all things.
Okay, I'm just gonna,
Basically, just put something heavy on it and just leave it there.
okay, I'm just gonna, do this now, because this is working for me, kind of. I feel kind of like Julia Childs right now. It's cool. I like her. All right, I'm gonna grab some ingredients out of here. You never get to be on camera. Julie, you don't know who Julia Childs is? Oh, Dylan.
Sorry, Dad.
Oh,
Sorry, Dad.
I'm sad. All right, I'm gonna
She
add
was in Pretty
broccoli
Woman.
as well.
Your dad had a poster in the garage, right?
She's the cook.
There you go. Yes, she's the cook lady. Yes. All right, we're just not gonna mess with that. Ooh, that broccoli is strong. Nico, I roasted some broccoli. So what I did is I took this broccoli. Well, Andy took this broccoli and he cut it up
You
into
should have
kind of
Nico make it.
smaller pieces.
I give up.
And then that's fine.
It's done.
That's fine. And then I roasted it with some olive oil, some salt and pepper for about 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. Because it's going to continue to cook once I put it in the hot pot pie material. Sound good? Everybody? Good? Yep? Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way since it's pretty much useless. And I'm going to use my recipe because I do need to cheat sometimes.
Not reading, it's all in there.
It is following directions.
Terrible.
Oh, he's still all upset about that, the burner, that's fine. Alright, so I've got my pan set to about medium-high, and what I'm gonna do is once my butter has melted, I'm going to go ahead and put my potato, onion, celery, and carrot in there and start cooking it. And then while that's going on, after that, I'm gonna make what's called a roux.
Hey, your mom says hi.
Hi, Mom! Hi, Mom! I love my mom, she's so cute. Alright, so after that I'm gonna make a roux, which is basically a mixture of flour and butter, or flour and oil. Especially if you're doing a vegan version, you can use the oil, and the flour is gonna help make a thickening sauce. So, when I do that, after I've made my roux, I need,
Your dad says, don't let the dough loaf.
my dad's weird, but I love him. Oh boy. That explains that.
And Luana said, if that oven doesn't work, you can mail it to her.
Oh, hi Luana. Luana, you guys, Luana's watching with us. She's hanging out with us too. We got a lot of fun faces. So, I'm kind of just getting all of my components together right now. What I want to do is I want to be prepared, because once you get this process going, then it really kind of goes quickly. This is going to take us the most time because it has to cook the longest. It's the only thing we're really like cooking, and it's about 45 minutes. But once you get all your prep work done, then it doesn't take you too long once the whole process gets going. The whole point of this is so that way you guys can take a couple hours on your days off, which I know you have one of, and you can make some food that you guys can eat throughout the week. So that way you're not eating freezer meals, frozen TV dinners, frozen French bread pizzas. I know why you did it, but still. So the goal is to kind of get you guys so that way you're comfortable in the kitchen as well as being able to make food that you really enjoy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these veggies in. And while I'm doing that, Andy, do we have any questions or anything else from my parents?
No, not yet, not yet.
Is it snowing in Wisconsin?
Aval said hi to everybody.
Hello. Hey.
Hi. Hi, friends. Welcome. All right, so I'm just.
Something about the Julia Child reference. Her first book was published in 1961.
I wasn't even born then. My mom graduated from high school a couple years after that. Sorry,
I
Mom.
don't think she wants to be telling people that.
Sorry, Mom.
Hey, we got a what's cooking?
My dad was born.
What's cooking? Right now, we're cooking pot pie. Pot pie.
Popeyes.
Not Popeyes. Apparently there was some sort of confusion about what was happening.
Popeye should sell that. No, Popeye.
Popeyes, you should sell Popeyes.
Yeah, Popeye's Popeye.
Oh,
It's chicken.
oh, yes. Ooh. Light, there we go.
Fancy. Is there a fan?
There is a fan,
That might
but
be loud though.
Nothing steaming.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, that's okay. I'm gonna turn my oven up, because I need it at 400 degrees. Sorry for the air conditioning unit. Alright, when you add your vegetables, it calls for you to add the garlic. I like to hold off on the garlic until a little bit later, just so that way I don't burn my garlic. If you burn your garlic in your recipe, it ruins the entire recipe and you have to start over. Believe me, burnt garlic is disgusting. I know from personal experience. So, I'm gonna get my seasoning ready. And I like to season to taste, which is what I've noted on your recipes. Just salt and pepper to taste. And then I called for fresh herbs of your choice. Now, in this recipe, my secret weapon is poultry seasoning. I know it sounds crazy, but it makes my vegan pot pie, which I'm making a vegetarian pot pie, but it makes my pot pie taste like Thanksgiving, which just makes me so happy. So my secret weapon is poultry seasoning. Now, just because it says poultry seasoning doesn't mean that there's any poultry in it. It's just herbs. So that's my personal preference. So I love poultry seasoning. I use it in my vegan Thanksgiving stuffing. I use it in my vegan pot pie. I use it anywhere I can because I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. So while we're getting these vegetables cooked, just kind of keep stirring them every once in a while. I usually give them about 5 to 7 minutes to cook down before I put in my garlic. So I've got my garlic all minced up. I'm just gonna prep my ingredients for my roux. So I've got my flour here in my Green Bay Packers container, and of course I have my Green Bay Packers cup, because Green Bay is the best team.
Please sponsor us.
What?
So please sponsor us.
Yes, well actually I'm an owner of the Green Bay Packers.
Oh.
Yeah. Green Bay
That's right,
Packers are the only publicly traded team in
That's
the,
right.
in the league, and I own stock in the Green Bay Packers, and therefore I'm an owner. And I could go to their meetings. You have a question, sir?
No, I'm just cheering.
Oh. Oh, do you like the Green Bay Packers?
Well, I'm just cheering you on.
Oh, please. I was really excited.
It's very supportive, man.
What's that now? Oh, all right. Maz.
Hi.
Come on over here, Maz. You get to be on camera. Yay! Maz and I were
Yeah,
shopping
Maz.
yesterday with Elisa. It was a good time. It was a good time. Do you want to kind of stir my vegetables for me every once in a while? And then don't forget to turn and look at the camera and say hi every once in a while.
Catherine wants to know if Devin is here.
Devin is not here. Dylan is here, but Devin is not.
You could be David.
I don't know.
You dropped it.
I don't
You
know if
had one job. Did you get lessons from Tanya on plain food? Like, what happened here? What happened
You're
here?
welcome, man.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Alright, so I'm prepping my vegetable broth. And you, again, if you're using chicken or turkey, you can use chicken or turkey broth or beef broth. But I'm prepping my vegetable broth and getting that ready. Ooh, my oven is preheated, which is awesome. Alright, this is looking nice. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my garlic in. Alright, gonna give you a lesson here that I've been trying to teach Andy, because he also likes to fling food when he's in the
Only bacon grease.
No, you fling all the food, not just bacon grease. You fling all the food all the time. So you just very carefully, it's kind of a folding method. You just fold it. You just fold it in. What is going on? There's a lot of giggling over there.
Was that a Happy Gilmore reference? Tap again.
Tap. Oh, I do like Happy Gilmore. I love Happy Gilmore. I'm
You were changing the reference.
I love Happy Gilmore. It's a great
Tap
movie.
it in.
Tap it in. Just tap it in. Tanya, you may need to come say hi to everybody because they all love you and know who you are.
I'm dirty.
It's okay that you're dirty. Tanya's been working hard today, so give her some love.
And injured, it looks like.
Oh, that's fine. It's really fine.
All right, so I've got this cooked nicely the way I want it. I'm gonna snag one of these because I don't need these anymore. I will need it in a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my flour and get my roux started. It's very simple. This is just 1/3 cup all-purpose flour.
Can you spell roux?
Yes, R-O-U-X, roux. It is a French word, but it's also used in a lot of Cajun Creole cooking in New Orleans. So the French started it, and then the Cajuns took it over. You use it a lot in gumbo, mostly in gumbo, but also in like, Andy, what's that dish that you like? The Cajun, or the etouffee? Etouffee. Yes, he likes all of the Cajun food, but they also use it in etouffee.
I thought that was fish eggs.
What?
No, that's roe. Never mind. Fish roe.
You thought what was what?
Fish eggs, but like that's
Roe,
It's
that's
roe,
real,
yeah.
R-O-E, yes. Alright, so I've added my flour, and I'm just gonna go ahead and whisk everything together, and it's gonna kind of stick. It's gonna get sort of dry looking almost. I wish, I'll show you. Here, I'll just come do this here real quick. I just made a mess. But see here, it's kind of looking a little bit floury, which it should. But you wanna make sure that you get all your flour incorporated and cook out that raw flour flavor, because that's not delicious. It's not tasty at all. So now that I've got my flour all worked in and incorporated, see, there we go, I got everything all worked in. I'm gonna take my whisk and my pan back to the stove. And I'm gonna add my liquid. I'm gonna gradually add it, not all at once. I want it to really kind of work its way in and make almost like a gravy. It's basically a gravy you're making. But don't let that intimidate you.
Mimi, this is Bridget Sardone who's cooking.
So it's starting to thicken already. Thanks, Naz. Here, do you wanna flip it and you can hold the long handle so you don't burn yourself? So it's really starting to come together, and you'll see it's kind of starting to make like a gravy almost. Do you guys have gravy? You guys, gravy is the same in your country too, right?
Did you guys put gravy on weird stuff in this country?
We put gravy on weird stuff.
Like
Like
on
weird
pancakes and stuff.
Oh.
Like biscuits.
Blech.
Biscuits.
Biscuits and
Biscuits
gravy.
and gravy?
We don't have biscuits.
Oh, I despise gravy. I hate it.
That's a different kind of gravy though.
I hate
I
gravy
love
on it.
We
gravy.
have gravy, we just don't have biscuits. Biscuits to us are like sweet cookies, like that's a biscuit.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
which is the same in the UK, right? Biscuits are like cookies. Thanks. And then what are
That
like,
sounded like personal.
Oh, it's very personal.
Do I hate
then
it?
okay, I need a half a
It
cup of milk.
ruins everything.
Gravy is the best. Fight me.
This is like Hell's Kitchen.
Fight, man.
Max always wants me to fight. Max is always like, fight, fight. I think you just really want Andy and me to fight. Alright, so now that I've added my 1.5 cups of vegetable broth, I'm gonna go ahead and add my 1/2 cup of milk. Now again, you can use cow's milk, you can use almond milk, oatmeal milk, whatever you have, whatever it is that you use in your kitchen. That's the nice thing about this, is that really you can, oh wait, I need that, I just need to turn it down. So you can kind of see how it's really nice and thick. And this is when I'm gonna add my seasoning. So I'm gonna do some salt and pepper. Wow, that was a weird cackle from Andy Sardone in the background.
Lessa Lindsay says, gravy is a food group, lots of exclamation points.
Oh, gravy is a food group. That's a girl after my own heart.
Oh my god.
Gravy.
Catherine and Avelle, this is actually a vegetarian pot pie. There's no meat in it. They're saying we could eat this if it didn't have meat in it.
There is no meat in this pot pie. You can make this vegetarian or vegan. I have made vegan pot pies. So in your vegetarian or vegan pot pies, you could do something like, well, let's go vegetarian or vegan. Mushrooms, sweet potatoes,
One thing we were on mushrooms.
chickpeas. You could use, I've done it with chickpeas. I'm doing broccoli and potatoes in this one. Because I know how much my friend Nico loves broccoli. Don't worry, he's gonna be on camera soon, because I know you guys all have seen Nico on camera.
No, it's not happening.
Amanda wants to know where she can get the printed recipe.
Where can the recipe be found, Andy?
I am putting it up right now.
On Facebook?
T minus 30 seconds.
What's the location? Are you putting it up on Facebook or where?
I am going to drop it in the video, and yeah, it'll be fun. Actually, you'll be able to find it on chickennugget.com in just a second.
Chickendnugget.com.
Tell them like 5 minutes.
In approximately 5 minutes.
I'll let you know.
There is the tech man. I have like 2 tech people. I feel almost kind of like I'm actually a
I mean, it's
A
lit-
superstar?
I mean, it's
The next
lit like
Emerald-
an actual TV
The
show.
next Emerald Lagasse.
No, let's not do that. I'm not interested. That I just instantly started sweating, Dylan. I'm not interested in becoming the next Food Network star. No. No, no.
Yes, she is.
No, I'm not. Stop talking. You don't talk for me. No.
Hey, our house up.
Stop it.
My money's are rigid though.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
why I'm
scrappy.
saying fire.
I'm scrappy. And I used to kickbox.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. All right, so see how this is nice and kind of thick, and it looks really delicious and yummy, like gravy? Yes.
Well, you had to ruin
It's so good. So I have added my broccoli, and I cooked down my potatoes earlier, along with my onion, celery, and carrot. So, oh, and my garlic. I did add my garlic. So now I'm gonna set this aside for a little bit, just to cool. We'll set that right there for you guys. I'm gonna move a little bit of this stuff out of the way, because now comes the fun part, which can also be the intimidating part, depending on who you are as a person. Pie crust. Let's talk about pie crust.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. So you can buy pie crust in the store. It's totally fine. You can buy it and it's rolled up into like a little cylinder, and then you just unroll it and you prepare it. However, if I were to purchase pie crust from the store, I do believe my grandmother would come out of her grave and snatch me bald-headed, and my mom would slap me the next time she sees me. And I don't want either of those things, so I have made pie crust. And it's my grandma's recipe. So, I prepped it a little bit. I made 2 pie crusts. I made one for the filling, one for the bottom and the filling. So you can see. And I left a little bit of overhang on the sides where I could, just because I knew I was going to be making the top portion. So I'm going to move these things out of my way. I do need that for later, but not right now. I'm going to have some more. Yeah, green packers are the best. All right. I'm just going to tidy this up a smidge. What's happened? You're fine. All right, I'm gonna grab my second pie crust out of my cooler.
Sounds like pie crust came in and just got
Hey, Megan says hi.
Who?
Megan.
Hi, Megan.
How did you make your pie
Hi,
crust?
Megan. I used Crisco because that's the way my grandma did it, and it's vegan. Crisco is vegan. I studied that extensively. I was making food for vegan friends long before I personally was a vegan, because here at Big Cat Rescue, a good majority of the population is, Nico's shaking his head, he's like, no, vegan or vegetarian. So, yeah, Chelsea's like, woohoo! So I was making vegan food a long time ago.
Catherine wants to know if you can make a gluten-free pie crust.
You can, I know that there are ways to do it, but I have never personally done it. So I don't know how to make a gluten-free pie crust. That is something I have not attempted yet. Sadly for Andy, because he is gluten intolerant, which means he either A, does not get any pie, or B, has to suffer through eating the gluten and then feeling miserable for the next couple of days. Usually it's the latter. But yes, there's a brand called King Arthur's Flour. They have a gluten-free flour mix. I would suggest trying them out. But I use Crisco, and I use ice cold water, like really cold water, and I prepare my pie crust in a cold bowl. Like I put my bowl in the fridge before I start working with my ingredients.
Why?
And I do it by hand. I know some people use food processor, and that's how they do it on the TV shows, but I prefer to do it by hand. It's the way I was taught, it's the way my grandmother did it, it's the way my mom still does it. So I really prefer to do my pie crust by hand. And I just use a pastry cutter, which is really cool. It just has like this rocking motion back and forth, which I love. And then once I've cut in my Crisco to my flour, then I add my ice water, and then I use my hands and I mix it all together until it comes together. So now I'm just working with my pie dough.
What is the reason for the ice cold?
It prevents the butter from, or your shortening of any kind, from getting too warm. The reason that pie dough and pie crust work so well is because you've got chunks of your fat, so to speak, in little pockets. And what happens is when you bake that off, it steams open and it makes everything light and fluffy and airy. So if you get it too warm, it starts to kind of break down that fat, and you don't get the rise and the gorgeousness of said pie crust or pie dough.
You're a genius.
It's just science. Science!
Exactly.
So, and again, what's the, you got a question?
Yeah, let's see, Luana has one of the groups, how long do you let the dough rest before rolling it out?
A minimum of 30 minutes resting time in the refrigerator. Now you can make your pie dough in advance and freeze it, but then you need to let it sit in your refrigerator to thaw a little bit because you don't want to take it from frozen. It won't work. And then you'll have to let it go. See what I did there? Anybody? No? Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I was like, so get that reference. So you want to let it rest at least 30 minutes in the refrigerator, but you can make it in advance. So during the holidays, I make my pie crust days in advance. I stick it in the freezer, and then I pull it out and set it in the refrigerator so that it can come closer to room temperature, and then once I'm ready, I start working with it. I'm using a pastry cloth, by the way. I know this looks kind of weird. Andy, the first time Andy ever saw it, he was totally creeped out, grossed out by it. It's actually very clean. It's just used for pastry, and it lives in the refrigerator. This was my grandmother's. It's very sentimental to me, and it's the way that she would roll out her pie dough. It's the way my mom rolls her pie dough out. She has one, and it just belongs to me, and it has a very important piece of my heart. So this is my pastry cloth. And so now that my dough is rolled out, I'm gonna go ahead. And I'm just gonna add some frozen peas to this mixture. Nico, I need your knife, please. Can you open this bag of peas for me, please?
You should do it on camera though.
Yeah, you need to come do it on camera though. Come. Come on, Nico. Thank you for that, pointing that out, Tanya.
He's asking about new interns.
What's that?
We need some new intern introductions.
All right, new interns. Yeah, woohoo! All right, so all the new interns, come on up. You gotta meet the people.
Go to some, yeah.
Elizabeth, I'm Bridget. We have nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Welcome. Sorry, I have pie dough on my hands, but it's nice to meet you. Kate, that's my mom's name, so that'll be easy to remember. Erin. Nice to meet you, Erin. Say hi, everybody.
Vito.
Nice to officially meet you. We've met. Yes, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So you guys have kind of met all of the interns. Can I count those? Okay, to open it? Oh, well, can you open it for me, please? Thank you.
You had one job.
So, summer is definitely intern season. Thank you, I didn't forget to use this time. Summer is definitely intern season, so, do we have any more interns coming, Chelsea, or is this everybody? What?
3 more.
3 more interns coming. So we have,
Do we know if intern season and kitten season correspond?
I think so, yes. Carol emphatically says yes.
Totally.
So we just put some frozen peas in here. It does 2 things. One, it helps to cool my mixture down, so that way when I put my mixture into my pie pan, I don't immediately start cooking my crust. But also, the peas are yummy. I really. Do you eat peas? Do you eat mushy peas?
Yes.
Oh.
Fish chips and mushy peas.
Mm.
Some gravy.
And gravy. Okay, now it's better since you put gravy on there.
They,
Ooh, Nico!
they heard Chelsea and they want to see Chelsea do something.
All right.
Can Chelsea do a cartwheel?
I'm working.
This is working on me.
Chelsea says she's working, sorry everybody.
Okay, so apparently Chelsea is working hard, so we'll let Chelsea work, but good attempt, I like that, maybe next time. So I'm gonna take my filling, and I'm gonna put it into my pie crust. Just like this, it's a very heavy pan, because it's full of vegetables, and deliciousness, and love.
So important ingredient of
It is the most important ingredient, especially when you're cooking for interns, because they need to know how much you love them. Because that helps them work harder. And it also makes you very popular with the interns, so when you need something, or you need them to do something, they're more likely to do it for you.
Blackmail.
I do, I'm not above blackmailing with food. We do that with the cats though, we bribe the cats with food to go home from vacation. I'm bribing the interns with food, it's the same concept, it really is.
operant conditioning with us.
It's operating. There's food. Okay, I'll do it. That's. I would never bribe people with food. I just give people food because that's the way I roll. All right, so I've got my beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Ah. So I got my lovely pie, and I put my filling in, and now I'm going to take my top crust. And again, feel free to use pie crust from the store if that's what makes you comfortable. If you are not comfortable making pie crust at home, don't worry about it. Boom.
I noticed that your whatever you call that, your rolling pin, it is very different. I've never seen one like that.
This is a French style rolling pin. I like it for 2 reasons. One, I don't have to worry about like my rotors dying or rusting or anything and then not turning properly or being unevenly weighted. Also, it works really nicely to threaten Andy in the kitchen. It's more effective.
It's a weapon.
Bam.
Guess whose knives are gonna use all next week?
Oh, wow. All right, so I've got my 2 sets of pie crusts here, and some people like to trim the pie crust. Crust is my favorite part of the pie, in any pie, and it's also Gail's favorite part. I learned this. Gail loves crust. So I'm not going to do anything where I trim this. I'm just gonna go ahead and bring these 2 things together, and I'm gonna very gently fold over a couple of times. Mostly 2. I'm just gonna seal this together loosely, and then I'm going to go back around and seal it in a more authoritative fashion.
Escape with it, bro.
A little bit frozen. frozen, it's just cold.
Somebody wants to know if the rolling pin makes Andy do dishes faster.
No, Andy does dishes quite well all on his own accord. I don't usually need to threaten him, but sometimes he gets distracted by cats or technology, mostly technology, and then I need to threaten him. But no, Andy does dishes pretty well. I will say Nico also does dishes quite. Actually, Nico does dishes better than Andy. Andy's single ladies.
You mean Nico?
Nico.
As long as like you say Andy.
You said Andy. You said Andy.
And he's single. 3 words.
He's single.
That's like I
Is
said,
that
no,
coincidence? Andy's heart just dropped.
Poor Andy.
I'm wearing a wedding ring, people. Come on now.
He's single for you.
Is the edge being scalloped like that just decorative, or does it serve a purpose?
Well, for me, it's mostly decorative. Again, I do a lot of the ways I cook because of my grandmother and my mother. So these are the ways that my mom and my grandmother cooked and baked, and my mom still does because she's still with us. But it also helps keep the filling in, so it doesn't kind of, ooze out the side. So you're kind of making sure that everything stays in. You want it to stay in nicely and behave itself, because otherwise you'll lose precious filling, which is one of the best parts after the pie crust, because there's gravy in there, or a roux. We'll call it a roux. It's a roux. It'll make you feel better, Vito. If it makes you feel better, just think of it as the roux. It's gonna be okay. Everything's fine.
Question, is what you're doing right now, does that help keep the stuff inside
Yes.
from boiling out?
Yes, what I'm doing right now, what I just did helps keep stuff inside. And now what I'm doing is just making some slits in the top of the pie so that way steam can escape from the filling as opposed to the crust. The crust is going to steam, but you want the filling to be able to steam up and out so you don't have soggy pie crust. So there it is, pot pie. It's really, it's not that scary.
And then we just put it
I know,
in the
I'm
oven
terrified.
for.
You put it in the
45
oven for
minutes?
45 minutes at 400 degrees, which we're gonna do, so it'll come out at the end of the show, or maybe after the show is over, in which case we'll take a picture. If you are really crazy and intense, and you want to do an egg wash over the top, it's a way to make it just, when you go to the bakery and they have like these beautiful golden pies, yes,
What's an egg wash?
I'm getting to that.
Is it the thing that makes it look shiny?
Yes, it makes it look shiny. You take some egg, you take one egg, you
Yeah,
beat it,
nice.
whisk it together with a little bit of water, and then you just brush it over the top. I don't have an egg. Well, I do have an egg, but I don't have a brush, a pastry brush. But you can also use milk, especially if you're vegan and you want to use that vegan milk. You can do that over the top as well. It won't be as shiny as the egg, but it's still pretty beautiful. Ma'am,
Bomb.
thank you.
What's your time and temperature?
400 degrees at 45 minutes, or 45 minutes at 400 degrees. So we're gonna synchronize your watches, people. No, nobody?
8:52.
Yeah.
I'm like, anybody get that?
It's from a show or movie. Ocean's Eleven? Oh, wait, no.
The intern's already tuned out. Yeah.
And are all of these foods things you made before, or was this just random?
So what I have made for dinner tonight for our interns and volunteers, I have never made before, and I just sort of made that up on the fly. I do kind of like to experiment on people with food.
Hey, Bridge, if you let everybody know, the recipes are up.
Okay. I will finish answering Carol's question and then I will answer your question. That's okay. That's okay. But some of these recipes I have made before. So the pot pie I have made previously, but I have been making pie for years and years. We're gonna make pancakes from a box because I am not above getting a little help from the store. So I have made those in the past before. The French bread pizza that we're gonna make, actually in just a couple minutes, I've not made before, but it's pretty easy. We're just gonna experiment and go from there. So, The recipes are up on chickenandnugget.com, yes?
Yep, you go to chickennugget.com, scroll down a little ways, on the right-hand side, just pop your email in, and we'll send you tonight's recipes.
Okay, so go to chickenandnugget.com, scroll down a little bit, look on the right-hand side, enter your email address.
Yep.
And we will send you these recipes. Cool. All right. There was something I was gonna say, but I can't remember now. It's gone. It'll come back to me.
Oh, Bridget, you were saying what you cooked for us tonight.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Oh, I made taco
Casserole?
casserole, cornbread casserole, and I made a vegan version with black beans and vegan cheese, and then I made an omnivore version with ground beef. So that is what we had for dinner tonight, and I made like a Mexican slaw with coleslaw mix, jicama, and green apple, and some cilantro, and mayonnaise and salt and pepper and lime juice.
It was
So-
really good.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. All right. Let's see. I need to tidy up a little bit. Can you do some dishes for me, please?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Since Nico is so good at doing dishes, I have a knife here. Just give it a start. Are we
How did
switching
she do
places?
that? She must have gone like out and came in. I didn't see her go by.
It has to be conductive in order to work on the.
Oh! Is it gonna work now? I mean, because I might need
You
it.
need a stainless
I-
steel pan.
I need a stainless steel pan?
Yeah, because if it's not magnetic, it won't work on a conductive surface.
Fart. So it won't work then? Oh, well, okay, I need a stainless steel pan. I don't think so, I don't know.
It's like if you stick that on the bottom of the pan, it sticks, then you know it'll work.
Oh, okay, did it stick on that or no? Oh, okay, alright, so that does not work unless it's stainless steel. I did not read that in the description, so I'm a little bit salty about that, but it's okay. So, what are you giggling about back there? Andy's like just cackling away.
They're comedy and Nico doing dishes, the ladies just love it.
Oh. Alright, so our next project is going to be French bread pizza. Who wants to make French bread pizza? Brooke?
Oh, Brooklyn would love to make French
Brooke?
bread
Do
pizza.
you want to come make French bread pizza?
Go.
Yay!
Brooke.
It's super simple.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's really not hard.
You wore your food shirt.
She even wore her spaghetti shirt. I know, I was so happy when I saw that.
Olive Garden.
See, those of them are good. This is like working at Olive Garden, kind of.
I didn't actually make the food, I just delivered it.
Yeah, but did you cut the bread or anything?
Nope,
Oh.
I ate the bread.
Well, this is, you're part way there then. You're part of the way there. So once we get that cutting board back from Nico when he's done washing it, then we'll go ahead and make French bread pizza. And it's super simple. It's very, very easy. It's French bread.
Oh. Hey, Bridget, we have something to draw this with.
Pizza sauce? It looks like there's.
Use your shirt.
No, don't use your shirt. Pizza sauce and toppings, which I'm gonna grab out of the cooler real quick. We're gonna do sausage and peppers.
Okay.
Do you like both of those things?
No.
Do you like either of those things?
Green peppers are fine, but I don't eat sausage.
You don't eat sausage?
No.
I did not know that.
I don't eat a lot of meat, actually.
Oh,
Rich.
I did not
I
know
probably
that.
could be a vegan or
Sweet.
vegetarian.
Well,
I like cheese.
then you could be a vegetarian.
Yeah.
There you go.
Put me on the spot.
It's okay.
You can like cheese.
Cheese is good. I'm from Wisconsin. I used to eat a ton of cheese. I still eat cheese.
Vegan cheese.
Some of that is really good. Yeah, some vegan cheese is good.
It's either really good or just not.
It's true. It's either really good or not good at all. There's no happy medium with vegan cheese. All right, and I'm gonna grab the cheese because you reminded me that that we need cheese. We need cheese for pizza. For French bread pizza. Yeah. Yeah.
I eat frozen.
You eat frozen pizzas?
Frozen French bread.
Well, good now. See, now you can make your own French bread pizza. All right.
Hey man, what you watching?
Are you watching? Are you watching? herself on her phone.
Yes, everyone is watching.
Yes, yes. This is how we roll here at Big Cat Rescue. All right. So I'm gonna grab you.
Here's what I'm calling
We're gonna get crafty here.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna do this. Do you want to cut the bread or assemble the pizza?
I'll assemble the pizza.
Okay, then I will cut the bread for you. Here is your jar of pizza sauce and your spoon. Yes. And I have a spoon for the meat.
Are you putting meat first or cheese?
You know what? That's the beauty of this. You get to make it, but I would recommend the meat first and then the cheese all over the top. So, but you are getting to make this, and that's the best thing about cooking is that you get to make it how you like it. And then you get to give it to your friends in the work race, and they get to eat it how
What
you
if they
made it.
don't like it?
Well, then that's their problem, not yours.
Okay.
Don't put the sauce on the top. It goes sauce there.
I told her she could do it anyway she
Yes, but you back there in the corner, ma'am, Miss Chelsea, who's not gonna make any sort of camera appearance, you get no opinion. Alright, so it's super simple. We're just gonna make chunks. I'm gonna cut my loaf in half, and then half again, see, 2 halves. Make another half. 2/4 make a half, there it is. And then I'm gonna cut it lengthwise. Be careful and watch your fingers, it can be dangerous. Do not let children do this step.
Is there a special kind of knife for that?
Yeah, I'm using a serrated bread knife because it works best for the bread, and it also works well for tomatoes. So I would recommend a serrated bread knife if you have one, but if not, just very carefully use your chef's knife, which is that big knife that I was using before. All right, so there's that.
That was a serial killer knife before.
The chef's knife, I love that knife. I have an even bigger one that Andy gave me for Christmas one year because that's the kind of marriage we have.
Just says serial killer right now.
It's big and shiny and huge. I love it.
Killing me cereal right now. Against this cereal.
This is assault. This is.
Fred, do you have a second to explain something?
Yes, I sure do.
So, excellent question from one of our interns about, if this is within a certain budget for a certain period of time.
Yes, this actually, I did all the maths for all the ingredients, and this is within your $50 budget for an entire week. All of these meals together, all of them, and a little bit of money left over. But you will need basic essentials, which I did not plan for, so you will need to go buy all-purpose flour, people. Good gravy train.
Are there specific flowers for specific things?
We're getting a lot of requests to see everybody.
Melissa,
This is Melissa.
she's
This is Melissa.
She's one of our new red shirts. She's awesome. We love her. She was actually on my tour.
I was.
There's
Melissa,
Chelsea.
there's Chelsea way in the background. In the corner there. It's okay, babe. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Take your time.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna keep cutting bread.
No, you keep cutting,
I'm gonna keep cutting the bread. Yeah, so Melissa was actually on one of my tours, and she thought that I was so amazing that she was like, how can I be a volunteer at Big Cat Rescue? And I said, because I cooked these green peppers in meat sauce and meat fat, so don't, Lexi, I'm sorry, you can't have any of this inside. So yeah, Melissa had such a great time on her tour, which I think speaks volumes about me as a tour guide personally. I'm just gonna keep tooting my own horn here on that one. That she, oh, there it is. That she wanted to know how she could get involved. And Tanya's gonna hold up a card about how you can get involved at Big Cat Rescue. So I gave Melissa that information and I was like, go on to bigcatrescue.org and, oh yeah, Carol needs that too. Go to bigcatrescue.org, check us out, fill out the application, and then be prepared to never leave. Never ever leave. You just never leave. They call you and they say, yep, you can come in, let's do orientation for the volunteers at least, and then you just stay for the rest of your life. And you never go home.
You don't want to.
No, you don't, well, sometimes I want to, because I really need to shower. Sometimes I just really wanna go home and shower. And I do wanna hang out with my cats. Who, by the way, Chicken and Nugget are named after. Just in case anybody was wondering where the name Chicken and Nugget came from. Chicken is the nickname of my cat Delilah, our cat Delilah, sorry, she's Andy's cat too. Technically, she's nobody's cat, I'm her parent. I'm her guardian. And then Nugget is the nickname of Joy, who is our other cat that we guard as well. We take care of her.
Who's the round orange one again?
What's that?
Who's the very round orange one?
Orange?
Orange and white, that's
Orange and
George.
white?
It's George.
With the tiny tail?
Yeah.
That's George, yes. George is an old man. He's our Manx. He's 14 and a half. And he is, yes, Maz likes to call him a pudding. He's a loaf, and I love him dearly. He's in renal failure, so he's been kind of, yeah, but he's been doing okay. We take him to acupuncture once a month. Yeah, he's going to acupuncture on Friday morning, so. It does, 14 and a half. So he's been, it'll be a year, it's been a year since he's been diagnosed. It's been over a year. And Joy and Delilah, since they fight with him, which Maz got to witness yesterday when she came by to hang out with me while we went to the mall with Elisa. You almost out of cheese, or are you good on cheese?
No, I'm good.
Okay, here, I'll trade you, I'll take this. And I'll give you that. Thanks. Okay, so George wrestles with Delilah and Joy, and that's what keeps him young. Elisa was like, no, get away, and I'm like, no, let them tussle. I'm like, let it beat him up. And he will too. That's what keeps him young. So, now that we have a batch of pieces ready to rock and roll, what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick these in the freezer so that they can freeze, and then we'll wrap them in tin foil, and then you'll put them in your freezer and keep them until you're ready. Did you go to RIT?
Yeah.
Really?
Mr. Sardone is from Rochester.
Hey.
Another person from upstate New York.
Yeah, are you from upstate New York?
Yeah.
How did I even know that?
We had a conversation about, I'll bring you the coffee shirt.
So does Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did know that. Which part of Rochester, what state are you from?
Albany.
Albany. All right.
Near
Oh, your mom works in Albany?
We have like every major city in upstate.
Nice.
represented.
Nice. And then we have, all over the world. We have South Africa. Every time I see or hear someone from South Africa now, I get excited and think of you always. I'm like, no. I was watching Chopped, and there were 2 women from South Africa cooking, and I was like, no.
They need to win.
They did not win.
They all we did is drink and stuff.
Well,
We didn't cook.
it was a twin competition, and they were the twins. They were 2 twin women, and they couldn't get it together. They couldn't stop fighting with each other. So it was.
That sounds African.
But then we have the UK. OFAC is Israeli. Anybody else? Oh, Canada! Our home and native land. Yeah, I can't stop. I just every time Ashley pops up in my every time Canada happens, and she does get her Canadian accent every once in a while. She goes out. Boot.
I go,
Goes about.
the Bulldog organization that I'm part of, they're, doing some paperwork so somebody can pick up the dog that we're fostering, so.
Oh, you gonna roll and rescue a dog?
Well, I mean, we do regularly, so.
So you're heading out to rescue?
Well, just to my house so we could do the paperwork.
Oh, okay.
Other person's coming and then we have to figure out what we're doing and so.
Either way, you're helping with the rescue.
Okay.
Thanks for rescuing.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
fun.
Nice meeting you, man.
Be
Have a
safe.
good one.
All right, bye-bye.
See you on property.
6 of each.
You good okay?
There's a lot of meat there.
Well, I used the whole pound. I wasn't sure. I don't cook meat much anymore, so I wasn't sure what I needed. So I just made a whole pound of sausage. You don't have to use all of it. Andy will eat it if it doesn't get used. Okay. Well, that's all good. All right. All good. No worries. Nico's still diligently doing dishes over here.
Clean those up.
Thank you. So we put the French bread pizzas in the freezer, and then once they're frozen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap them up in tin foil and then hand them out. If you're going to eat these, like if we were gonna eat these right away, go ahead and bake them off at 425 degrees, not in a plastic lid, just in case I needed to disclaimer that. Don't use plastic in the oven, it's not good. Or on the stovetop. Don't use plastic with high heat implements whatsoever, just in case I needed to share that with anybody. Yes?
Because I've seen it done. What about styrofoam?
No, not styrofoam either. No, don't use styrofoam in a high heat implement, ever. Don't put it in the microwave. No, don't. Not in the oven, not on the stovetop. If you need more cheese, I have more cheese. It's just not mozzarella.
No, it's okay.
Okay. But if you were gonna do this right away, we would go ahead and just pop these in the oven at 425 degrees for, I would say, 8 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes. Andy is looking at me like he has a comment. What's that, Matt? Oh, good gravy train, man.
Sign language.
You are not good at sign language, and I can't read your mind as much as I try to after however many years we've been married. So if you are going to freeze these, then you go ahead and you put them on a sheet tray, kind of like this. You stick them in the freezer, and then when they're frozen, you wrap them up in tin foil, put them back in the freezer, and then when you're ready, 425 for 15 minutes in the oven. Or you can make it faster and put them in the microwave for a couple minutes.
After you take the tin foil
Yes,
off.
take the tin foil off first. Thank you, Carol. I forget that it goes without saying. I just need to do that and say it.
It never goes up there.
So you put it in the freezer before you wrap it in tin foil? Why is that? Because it seems like it'd all be froze together.
Well, ordinarily I would have a big sheet tray and I would put them on the sheet tray. We're just kind of getting a par freeze here. So we're getting them just cold enough that everything is cold. So if you take a room temperature or a warm or hot ingredient and you put it, and you wrap it, you cover it with something, and then you put it in the freezer, you're gonna get condensation. And then it's gonna get mushy when you heat it up again. So this way you're freezing it without actually making any additional moisture. So then you wrap it up and then you reheat it, either in the oven or in the microwave. Take it out of the tin foil.
Are you done?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Ooh, Andy, you have green onions left, or green peppers left.
Yes.
Put some eggs in there. Make you an omelet. Sorry, my throat gets really dry when I talk for a long amount of time. Alright, so I'm right behind you with a knife. Just be careful. It's a serrated knife, so it shouldn't hurt too badly, but it's still a knife. Alright. Last but not least, it's breakfast time. Alright, I'm gonna put my pizza sauce away because I don't need that second jar. I'm just gonna do a little bit of tidying here. And then someone gets to make pancakes while I talk. I feel like it should be Dylan. I feel like Dylan should make pancakes. Yeah! Mostly you get to, you get to work at the stove in just a minute. Yeah.
Green one? I'll take care of it.
Excuse me, pardon me.
Get you that crowded.
We're gonna make blueberry pancakes.
Adorable.
Oh.
It matches my apron. Alright, so we're gonna make, I'm gonna cheat, it's not cheating, it's taking a hand from the store. So we're gonna go ahead and we are gonna make pancakes together. So let's follow the box. We need 2 cups of mix, we need 1 cup of milk, and we need 2 eggs.
2 eggs.
So I have eggs in the cooler and I have milk on the door of the fridge.
Would this work with almond milk?
Yes, it absolutely works with almond milk. And if you want to substitute applesauce for the eggs,
Oh.
then you can have a vegan breakfast.
Wait, so the almond milk makes no difference?
It does not.
I get oat milk and I stop making pancakes.
No, use almond milk. No,
I
use.
go for it.
questions coming from that she definitely
So that's my.
But you like use the almond milk, so that way, yeah, are you? Nico?
I also.
Anything about their memory plaque.
I mean, they make
Do you want to give a small update with the incoming tigers?
Can.
Then I'll finish this, then I'll ask you.
Thanks, talk to Andy, he's the knife sharpener. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and, pancakes are not really an exact science, which is the best part. You can make your own pancake mix at home if you want to. I'm sure you can find it. Alton Brown has a recipe for those people who are familiar with Alton Brown. Good gracious. Nico, that was not big enough.
Here, that's a good east guy.
Yeah. Do you have your knife on you? Because Nico's isn't sharp. Ordinarily, I would use scissors in my kitchen, but I'm not in my kitchen, and I don't.
There should be scissors right behind you in the drawer.
Thank you. All right, there we go. All right, so we're gonna use, according to the box directions, we're gonna use, holy fish sticks. 2
No?
cups. It's an approximation. This is the fun part. 2 cups. All right. Now, can you, let's see, what did the directions say? Stir ingredients until blended. Pour slightly less than 1/4 cup cupfuls onto hot greased griddle. Griddle. Andy. The griddle. It says griddle right there on the instructions. We're gonna use the big red pan. We're gonna do it stove top stack. I have a griddle, and I requested it to be brought, but there was some miscommunications. All right, if you will go ahead and crack 2 eggs into that for me, please, unless you want to do the milk.
into the cup or?
Any cut? Elizabeth?
We've had a request, Elizabeth's mother.
Yeah!
Get up here! Woo!
You have to juggle the eggs first.
So the reason you put your eggs in a cup is so that way if you have a bad egg, it doesn't go directly into your mix.
Ah, makes sense.
Can we have 1 cup of that, please, or the almond milk? Okay, that's me. Boom. Thank you. 2. All right, and then, let's see, what happened to my, there's my whisk. All right, Elizabeth, will you grab that whisk, please? Thank you. Excellent. And let's see, go ahead and give the whisk, that might not work, that's too big. Go ahead and pour your milk into the thing, please. There we go. And then, Dylan, put your eggs in the cup, in the glass cup, measuring cup, yeah. And then, Elizabeth, you can pass in that whisk. And Dylan, you can go ahead and whisk those eggs. It doesn't have to be beautiful or perfect, just a little bit, just a little whisk, a mini whisk. There you go. And the reason we're whisking the eggs first is so that way we get total incorporation of egg white and egg yolk into our mix. All right, it looks good. You're very efficient in that. I like it. Good job.
Practice.
Good job.
Pretty interesting question here. If we're gonna use applesauce instead of eggs, how much applesauce do we use instead of eggs?
1/4 cup per egg. So if the recipe calls for 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of applesauce per egg, so 1/2 cup total. I did not make that up, Nico. I heard you sass me. Don't you sass me. I heard you. Nico's like, she made that up. Did not.
Use applesauce.
You can. Instead of eggs, you can use applesauce.
Did not, but.
That's a great question, Andy.
What's up?
That was a good question. So don't forget that Chicken and Nugget has a Facebook page where we do live videos, typically every Friday, usually from my kitchen. But we get to hang out with interns and volunteers. I'm gonna let someone else start because y'all get in there. Have fun.
Stir Wars.
Refers to attract.
Let's see, how does that look? Does it? Sometimes with pancake mix, you'll have lumps, and lumps are not the worst thing ever. Yeah, stir until blended. Does that look like it's blended?
Yeah, wait.
Okay, stir until blended. You'll be fine. You can't make it, it's not gonna taste bad. It can't taste bad. It's got pancake mix and eggs and milk, and we're gonna add fresh blueberries to this. We're gonna have blueberry pancakes. Y'all are going home with blueberry pancakes. All right, do you wanna make the pancakes? You guys can, and then you can put blueberry on top of the pancakes. All right.
But you have to make them into like faces, that's another thing.
Oh yeah, you can make them however you like. See, that's the nice part. So we're gonna take our fresh blueberries. I think that looks mixed. There'll be some lumps, always with pancake mix. There will always be lumps. As much as I don't like it, it's just the nature of the beast.
Just like in life, you gotta love your lumps.
Oh, that's valid. We've got a lot of life lessons happening here today too. All right, so I've got my pan. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit higher than medium. Let's see. That's for biscuits. Biscuits. Hot greased grill. Oh, son of a nutcracker. My lid went flying. Alright, so I'm gonna turn this up to medium-high heat, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna use, even though it's a non-stick, I'm gonna go ahead and use some cooking spray just to give it beautiful golden brown edges. What are you doing over here? What's happening? You wanna make pancakes too, Naz? No? Ooh, hash browns, good call.
Next week.
Hash browns. I'm gonna give you this, so you can have like perfectly portioned cups of pancake mix. 1/3 cup.
My mom always used to say the first pancake will always be a flop.
Really?
Is that true?
I don't know.
My mom always used to fail at the first one.
That's true in my experience.
Well,
Never quite right.
we'll put that science, we'll put that theory to a test. What are you doing? All right.
Don't mess it up.
Pray to the pancake gods. All right, this pan is a little bit small. I was gonna bring a griddle, it didn't happen, so we're just gonna go ahead and see how many pancakes we can get in there. If they mush together, it's okay. All right, you ready? Okay, are you ready? All right. Let's begin pancake making. So, super simple. I'm gonna set this to whatever side you prefer. Just don't put it on a hot burner or the glass will shatter and explode and pancake mix will go everywhere. Yep, fill it and then dump it in. And then you get to take these fabulous fresh blueberries, which are in season. If you find any things like that, just take those. And then if you see any stems, see, there you go. Fabulous fresh pancakes, blueberries.
What's the difference between a pancake and a
Biscuit.
no, not a biscuit, a flapjack?
They're the same.
They're the same thing, right?
Yeah. Flapjack is just another
I
word
thought
for.
pancake were bigger than flapjacks.
Well, I mean, you can make giant flapjacks. Usually they're ginormous, but yeah, a pancake and a flapjack are the same thing. Kind of like a cougar is the same thing as a mountain lion.
Bring some cat.
Yay, catbacks!
When is your next cooking class?
My next cooking class is July. Andy, when's my next cooking class? July. Chelsea, when's my next cooking class?
No.
July 9th.
Oh, I want to have hair. That'll be cool.
All right, you have to come on camera. Come on camera.
You have to.
That's so sad, I just realized.
This is Tanya's last cooking class until she comes back from South Africa, so
Should be like a year.
so she's gonna come say hi to everybody, even though she's dirty.
It's gonna be like a year, Bridget.
Wash your hands.
She broke her finger.
I love you. I'm gonna miss you. But you can watch us on Facebook.
Be like Tanya's watching.
Yes. Someone will tell me that Tanya is watching. What time is it in South Africa right now?
Like 7 hours from now, forward.
Okay, wow. So then you can just watch later on. And you
I
can-
will wake up
Oh,
at what's the time now? 8 o'clock?
It's 8:30 right now.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's like 3 o'clock. I'll wake up at 3.
Oh, wow, that's dedication.
To watch Bridget.
You can watch me Friday nights at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit, yeah. How are we doing there?
It's okay.
All right, you're dripping. Just mind the drips. There you go. Put that in there. Yeah, there you go. Just set it in there. There you go. to bubble. We've got little air pockets going on here. You're gonna let that go, and then once the edges start to brown, that's when it's time to flip. So, I'm gonna move your pancakes. I'm gonna show.
There you
I'm gonna show the camera. So see here, we've got some nice setting going on the sides. I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit. And then once these really start to set up, then we're gonna flip them. We're gonna flip them. That's what that's for. Can you handle that pressure, or do you want me to flip the first time to show you? You got it?
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my best.
All right. I'm like you feed tigers and lions. This is a pancake walk. It's a pancake walk. It's a cake walk. Pancake walk. Woo. Can I? Baz wants to know if she can. No, my dad joke was hilarious. Should I tell the ocelot joke?
No, please don't.
Oh, Carol wants to hear the ocelot. She's intrigued now. What do you call a baby ocelot?
Oh, no, I heard this on tour.
An ocelotl? Not really, not really. It's not really what you call a baby ocelot, but it's a good joke. Yeah, now on tour it's gonna be ocelotls.
Well, Perfection's pretty small, can we call her that?
No.
No.
She will bite you.
She will.
She'll growl at you.
She grows.
She won't actually bite you because, we don't have contact. But if she could, she would. Especially you, Andy. I think she would bite you if she could.
I stay in the air conditioning.
Stay in the air conditioning. Let's check the status of the pancakes. Yeah, this looks good. See how it's kind of set there? All right, that's going to be the first one you flip. You got it? All right, everybody, hold your breath. Oh! It did not go well.
The theory works.
Your mom's theory works, Tanya. The first pancake is a throwaway. Okay, this one looks good, but you're gonna need to fix that blueberry. Yeah, get that blueberry. Yeah. All right, and then it's time to flip that one because you see how it's kind of done on the bottom half. There you go. Who's talking trash?
I'm bad at this.
I'm no snitch. I ain't no snitch.
What's that?
Are we waiting for pancakes to cook for a second?
We're waiting on pancakes to cook. Yeah.
We've had a couple people ask about incoming tigers. Carol, can we get an update on that, please?
Do we have an update on incoming tigers? Yes.
Hey!
Ladies and gentlemen, our founder and President Carol.
The tigers from Guatemala, we thought were going to be here in December, and because of the government shutdown, it put it back several months to be put on the Federal Register. That happened, I'm thinking, probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then there's a month that it has to be on the Federal Register, and then the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has to decide what they're going to decide on it. So we're thinking probably August before Kimba, Simba, and Max make it here from Guatemala. A lot of other people are really concerned about what happened in Canada with the seizure of all of those animals at a really horrible zoo. And we were asked back in April if we would be willing to take the small cats. We said we would take all of the small cats, including some of the bigger cats. But they contacted me on the 15th of this month and said they had already found other arrangements for the animals. And so because of the fact that it's cross-country borders and you have this bulk importing thing going on, my guess is that they probably had to find somebody in Canada or maybe are even sheltering in place. I don't know the details. I just know those cats are not coming through.
Thanks, Carol.
You're welcome.
Wow. We gotta wait till August for those kids.
Yeah.
That's exciting, but it's also sad. You have been standing over there talking trash, and now you're like, oh, I'm stealing a blueberry. I do what I want. My name's Maz. I eat gravy on peas, and I call them biscuits, even though they're cookies.
debate too at the house.
Well,
I have to get through this debate at the house too.
Oh, look at those. Look at those beautiful, beautiful pancakes.
Smiley face, yeah?
I made it had hair.
That one was a little rough there. That was the one that we struggled. That was the first. This is the first one, and yeah, look at that. It's,
So what is your choice of
I'll eat that.
liquid to put on top?
syrup
Gravy.
is delicious. Gravy. Gravy. Woo! Gravy is delicious.
You like honey?
I don't usually eat honey. I don't
Can
really.
do vegans eat honey?
It depends on who you talk to. It depends on your vegan. So there are vegans that eat honey and there are vegans that don't eat honey.
Okay.
There are also vegans that don't eat bread or drink kombucha because they think that yeast is living. Kombucha is a fermented tea.
Very good food.
Yes, it's also very, honey, or Chelsea, you eat honey? Chelsea eats honey. So it just depends on the vegan that you talk to. I'm gonna turn this down because our pan is now smoking. Screaming hot pan. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use maybe like a little bit less than a third of a cup. Because I feel like maybe we got a little out of control. Maybe a little bit.
They look good.
Alright, who's doing blueberries?
They're very
Yeah.
fluffy.
They look good.
What are you going on about over there? Maz is singing a blueberry song. Apparently
Have you
it's
never
something-
seen the video?
No, what are you talking about?
That girl who's making a fruit salad and her little sister comes and she's eating blueberries. You know what?
No.
It's a UK thing.
Yeah, that's in England.
I was like, are you just making up things now, Maz?
Bridget, do
Yes.
you ever make savory pancakes?
I do not personally, but I
Didn't know that was a thing.
have I made a savory pancake before, Andy?
What is a savory pancake?
Well, a savory pancake could include a various number of things, like
Like the stuff you put in your pie could be in the pancake.
yeah, you could do
I've
bacon
made
and
that.
cheese if you eat meat. You could do cheese and bacon. You could do scallions, which is a green onion, and maybe some peppers. That would be tasty. I certainly have this. We're really going to town. We got some nice heat going on here. I'm just gonna. Don't want to burn the pancakes. Let's see. Chinese pancakes are usually savory with like chives or green onions in them. But I've not personally ever made a savory pancake. I've made a savory biscuit, which is actually like,
We make savory biscuits with cheese and beans.
Cheese and beans.
and gravy.
That would be
Okay.
weird.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, I'll try some.
I've made savory biscuits before, and those were yeah. You know, you had I made.
I'm getting questions about a blueberry song.
Oh, Maz brought up the blueberry song, and now people want to know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Well, I've got a request from a few people for a few of you to sing it all at once.
Oh,
Mass is the only one who knows it. Can you sing it?
sing the
It's
blueberry
It's not a
song.
song, it's a video where it's both like blueberry.
Copyright, you gotta sing it.
Mads, you gotta get in front of the camera because there's a lot of confused people right now. And you should probably sing it.
You should sing along. I feel like you should sing
Oh,
along.
I just switched my phone. I am not technical.
Do it. Come on, Mads.
It is not a song, it's a video.
Sing along.
Guys, that was an anticlimax for you.
I'm in the moment.
We need to
Yeah.
I think let's use those.
Pancakes were just a little bit big. There we go. All right, see, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the pancake song. I don't get it. I would like to share a pancake hack with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to stand over the stovetop like this all the live long day, you put them in muffin tins and you bake them in the oven.
Oh.
Yeah, I like to call them puffins. Pancake muffins. I do know there's an animal called a puffin. When I was,
adorable.
they are adorable. When I was a kid, there was a restaurant in my hometown, which was very small, of like 5,000 people. Shout out to Jefferson, Wisconsin. And it was called the Puffin Cafe. Yeah, and they had puffins on the walls, not real ones or not
Taxidermy.
not taxi. Yes, thank
Pictures
you.
of them.
Just yes, photos and paintings and drawings and yeah, but not real puffins. But yeah, I like to call those puffins. Then you just dump the batter in the muffin tin and you put it in the oven at 350 for like 15 minutes, and you can put all kinds of stuff in there. I have done that before, many a time. Yes. Any other questions? Because otherwise we're just gonna make pancakes and oh, we've got 4 minutes on the pie.
Oh.
Timing.
Do you
Nice.
grease the muffin pan?
Yeah, I would grease it unless you have a non-stick muffin pan. Then you don't have to, but I would definitely, if it's not a non-stick muffin pan, then go ahead and use your nonstick of choice. Like I use the spray, I like the coconut oil spray for when I'm making sweet stuff, and then I use the olive oil spray, but I only brought the olive oil spray, so olive oil, you can't go wrong with olive oil, but I like the coconut oil when I'm baking things. But yeah, spray the pan, unless it's nonstick, and then you should be good. And you can make mini muffins. If you have a mini muffin pan, you can make mini puffins. Just put like, Andy will put like 3 of them in his mouth at one time.
Pufflets.
Pufflets? Oh, that was a terrible one.
There
There
we
it is.
go.
Much better. You know, the trick to that is looking at the person's elbow. Did I teach you
told me
that?
that, yeah.
Yes! Oh, we have a high five on that too. Nice. That's the secret
My
trick,
goodness.
is that you look at the person's elbow that you're
You
high-fiving.
see, the first batch
Yeah,
always is
it's
a
not,
failure.
yeah, no, it's not good.
Well, thank you guys. People are not just putting puff in front of random letters.
You're welcome, America. Good night.
What a puffin?
Pufflets, they're the muffin, they're the mini
No, but this
muffins.
person's saying puffinets.
Puffins. I don't know what that is.
That sounds delicious.
That's the French version.
Oh, that's nice, yes. Puffinets, puffinets. Or would it be puffinaise then?
Yeah, don't say half the letters and then it's French.
All right. Maz, sing it. Sing the blueberry song. Make up a blueberry song at this point.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the Jurassic Park theme tune.
Oh no! Jurassic Park.
I know, that's what it said. I was thinking about the Jello.
I forgot
We
about the
did it
Jello.
on Netflix.
I'll bring it Saturday.
All right, so for those, I'm sorry, Brooke. I love you. I love you. I love you. I never do this, but I love you. So, for those that are kind of confused.
I need to get that.
I was about to say that.
Our intern Brooke it was pointed out by Nico, of all people, that intern Brooke, when she's wearing her hat and she's been outside all day, she just looks like Emma Stone. Is it Emma Stone that people say you look like?
Emma Stone?
No one's ever said that.
Kristen Dunst.
Kristen Dunst, yes. Now you look like Kirsten Dunst with your hair down. Now you look like Kirsten Dunst, but when she's wearing her hat and she's been outside all day and she's got her like wispy bang dealies hanging down from her hat, she looks kind of like Lexi from Jurassic Park. It was brought to my attention by Nico, and Brooke now hates Nico for the rest of her life, and I can't say I blame her. So now anytime Nico and Maz and Brooke are all in the same room or in the same vicinity, there is a Jurassic Park theme song being played, and Brooke has been amazingly wonderful about it. I think she might slash Nico's tires on her last day of her internship. It's possible.
You should hide that chef's knife.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be like she'll steal his knife, and but I get the sense that that's gonna happen. But yeah, so that's how the Jurassic Park theme song thing ended up happening, and Brooke has been a great sport about it. Again, I don't blame Brooke. If you do slash his tires, I will not tell anybody. I won't tell anybody.
But only do 3 though, because 4 of them insurance will cover.
Fun question here. So, how did the hot lunch go over? How were the sandwiches?
Oh,
Oh, amazing.
actually, Ashley can tell us how the sandwiches were for hot lunch since she participates in hot lunch. Ashley,
I don't think anyone knows who Ashley is, though. Can we see Ashley?
You've been here last. You've been here long enough. People need to know you.
They do, they saw me last time. They were great. I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't know what it is though.
I know what it is. George picked it out.
yes, George picked out hot lunch. So for those that are unfamiliar with the hot lunch program, Carol's actually unfamiliar with hot lunch program because I haven't brought it up to her, so now she's gonna learn what it is. I'm sorry, Carol. I have started a workplace group that is private, and I have invited people that volunteer on Saturdays. And what I do is I make lunch, and if they would like to participate, they give me some money to pay for groceries. And then they get a main course, like a main dish, a side, and usually dessert. And Elisa gets really excited because we all know how much Elisa likes food, so she does her little happy food dance. But yes, hot lunch is an option for anybody who volunteers on a Saturday, because that is the day that I am in on the partner side. So the night before, I make hot lunch for everybody, and it's not always hot lunch. Oh, the pie is done. The pie is done. But basically, you can let me know if you're interested in the hot lunch program, and you get a meal for like $6. Melissa she's gonna start her first hot lunch on Saturday. George picked hot lunch, because I couldn't decide.
I think it sounds like a great idea.
I was the one who convinced her to charge money.
It's true. Chelsea's the one who convinced me to charge money.
And I think this bridge was a good idea.
This is really beautiful.
Thanks. There it is, everybody.
Oh, gorgeous.
How do I turn this off? Turn it on. So there's your pot pie. So definitely when it's time, if you're gonna serve this right away, let it sit for 10 minutes, because everything in there is like molten liquid hot. It's very hot, like liquid hot magma. Very hot. Nice. Did you beat all of them? Yeah. Always with the elbow now. So let this set up for 10 minutes. If you're going to freeze it, you can let it come to cool, like room temperature, and you can either freeze your pot pie whole, or you can cut it into slices and freeze your slices individually. So since you guys are going to be portioning these out for your own meals, definitely bring it to room temperature, slice it up, and then freeze it individually. So other than that, do we have any last minute questions? Because otherwise, we're just going to finish this pancakes and then clean up. And
Yeah, Cara Taylor wants to know where you got those mitts.
I got these mitts on the Greater Good site, and all of my purchases went to feed homeless animals in shelters food. So yeah, the Greater Good website. And your proceeds go to feed animals in shelters. Yay! Because let's be honest, we like feeding the cats breakfast. You look good? What do you think? Oh, look, he's getting to be a pro now. He's like the pancake pro. You're welcome. Yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of those.
I'll eat them.
Okay. I forgot, they ain't anything.
Just cover my, just hide my shame.
Yeah, just cover those up with the pretty pancakes and don't roll that one. Yeah, there we go, nice. All right, any other questions?
Let's see, Catherine Nazareth is becoming many times, she's slowly becoming more like Amanda as she watches you cook.
Amanda Tiger?
Yeah, she's becoming very hungry.
Oh, I thought she was just being angry, and I was like, I'm sorry, I know why you're always cooking. Cooking should not make you angry.
Thank you, that hungry girl.
And they want to know what's up next. Any idea?
Well, this coming Friday, I'm going to be working on Hot Lunch, and Hot Lunch for Saturday is going to be corn dog muffins, which I had to explain to Maz. Oh, you looked really excited there. You just got super excited. Ooh. Basically, it's cornbread, and you pour it into a muffin tin, and then you add your hot dogs, which are either vegan or non, which in my case, they're vegan, and in Andy's case, they are non-vegan. And in your case, they're non-vegan, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. And so I'm going to work on those, and then we'll do a potato salad. And then for dessert, which I'll make after the show, is strawberry cake. So Friday is hot lunch day in my personal kitchen with Andy Sardone, and then you guys can see what we're making for hot lunch, and then you can message the interns or Elisa. You can message Elisa and ask her what she thinks about hot lunch, because she's pretty excitable when it comes to food. Yeah.
I concur.
So, yeah, Elisa gets hangry. I love you, Elisa, but she's the first one to admit she gets hangry. I feel like I should just wear these like this.
All the time.
All the time. Any other questions?
No, we're good over here.
All right, so
Everybody's saying
if you
thank
guys are interested in the recipes, go to chickenandnugget.com. Don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook. That includes interns, volunteers, staff, anybody that wants to follow along on what's happening, or you want to know what the recipes are. Otherwise, here, put that on and wave to the people. Here, put that on and wave to your mom, if she's still watching. There you go.
Okay.
Bye guys, have a good night, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That was awesome, yeah.